In this tutorial, we are going to level up your scale playing skills using an infamous passage from Chopin's Nocturne in C-sharp minor. This piece is so nasty because it seems perfectly manageable for intermediate players until near the very end that passage appears. And while playing this one, you already start to freak out, obviously, in front of what's coming, and then, oh my god, oh my god. And of course, most learners mess up here big time, which is absolutely understandable. So I'll guide you step by step through the process. You're on the job to be patient and attentive. The challenge with such quick scale passages is that they demand a thumb over technique, a very advanced type of technique, which is nearly impossible to develop if your traditional thumb under technique is shaky. So we'll take a smart layered approach. First, we build a solid classical technique, and then we transcend it into something a virtuoso could be proud of. If you want a full breakdown of this piece, please check out a full tutorial by following the link in the description, or check out my full comprehensive technique rebuilding course, which is currently on flash sale. So you may get it at 50% discount price by following the link in the description. In this course, you'll find 20 hours of video material, which will guide you through the whole process of rebuilding your technique and acquiring different technical skills. So, step number 1. Hand positioning. We are going to address your basic setup, your basic hand positioning. What is very common by many piano learners is the weak positioning of the thumb, when the thumb is laying at the key like this. When this happens, your wrist will inevitably sink lower with each position change. So you might see something like that. Yeah, this doesn't work. That's why the optimal position of the thumb is when there is a slight angle between the thumb and the key. The difference between this flat thumb positioning and this is very subtle but very significant, because this one may allow you to not move your wrist around. So now your wrist can be in one position, and this is absolutely crucial for smooth scales playing. If you hear someone saying that it's necessary to move around your wrist when playing the scales, just simply know that they are amateur pianists. We really need a good thumb positioning, which will allow us to keep the wrist at the same level. That's absolutely crucial. Also, therefore, let's check the positioning of our weaker fingers, like finger 4 on the black key. So let's move positionally, and each time you reach the last finger of the position, explore a tiny motion forward just to feel strengthening of this joint. We really want to feel stable and secure here, and this tiny little motion helps us to feel this stability. Of course, when we play weak scales, there is not enough time to move in and out of the keyboard either, but as an exercise, it's very beneficial because it will help you to feel that stability and to position your hand in such a way that you can get it. Because another very common issue with scales is that people play them with flattened fingers, like this, with an under-supported knuckle. So then we naturally get a lot of compensatory tension in the wrist here, which again doesn't work. We really have to stabilize these joints and develop a skill of stability in these knuckle joints. That's why stop here. Make sure that you can feel that stability here, but not lifting the wrist. This is another crucial skill. Step number 2, let's fix your position changes while going upwards. So focus on how your hand changes positions and what happens with your thumb. While playing the fingers 2, 3, 4, we prepare the thumb by going with it under the hand. We don't want to have any tension, we don't want to overcurl it, just a natural kind of lazy motion under the other fingers, like this. So your thumb already would be in position, like this. And then, additionally, very important to make sure that you don't have any tension here in the shoulder and in the upper arm, and that you can open your arm a little bit and allow your arm to guide your fingers instead of the fingers pulling your arms. So, opening the elbow helps tremendously with hand positioning, because now it's so much easier to reach the next position, like this. So when we play scales, our arms naturally tend to open up a little bit. And since we have fixed our thumb positioning, now when we play the next thumb note, we can withhold the tension, we can have stability here in the nail joint, which is actually gently curved, not exactly straight, and of course not outward oriented. It has to be just very gently curved like this. And we feel some tension here in the nail joint, and we feel some tension here at this part of the wrist. And this stability allows us to feel relaxation here between the thumb and the second finger. So while you hit the thumb note, you instantly and freely open your hand like this. And the second finger prepares to the next position instantly. So this is something you're going to build very attentively and build these habits over many, many days by practicing consciously with full attention. This is crucial for your development. Step number 3, evenness and clarity. When we practice, we aim for consistency. Each finger should strike with the same energy. So listen for the accents, listen for the ghost notes or weak tones. And of course, I would suggest you to start practicing any scale mezzo forte. So you would train your fingers, stabilize them, and feel comfortable. Feel the support at the bottom of the key in each finger. This will help you to release the other fingers, which are done immediately after each note. So as soon as you go to the second finger, just fully relax the thumb. So it would release the key instantly, because we don't want overlapping. You see, this is not good because I let my fingers get stuck in the keys and we have some overlapping sounds. We don't want that. Of course, some teachers suggest practicing with lifting the fingers high. I personally don't think this is a good idea, because although it improves clarity immediately, but it has very nasty consequences like injury risks. And also it slows you down. So when you play really quickly, by lifting your fingers, you will play slower and more sloppily. So you just want to optimize everything, making tiny motions and staying really close to the keys. So listen carefully for uneven accents, weak tones, and overlapping sounds. And pay attention to how it feels. So not only listening carefully, but also listening to the sensations in your body, because you want an even sound and a sense of equal control across all fingers. So when you play this scale, you just stop at any given finger and you feel the same stable support and confidence in each finger and relaxation in all the other fingers. Step number 4, let's fix our position shifts downwards. So when we go downwards, we have to acquire another skill. Again, withholding with the thumb, don't let your thumb collapse. Staying at the same level, and actually here we might want to stay a little bit higher, because if you stay very low here, it becomes awkward. Like I can play like this, but most learners would actually just stuck somewhere. So you want the whole arm to be a little bit like on the second floor, on the second level, and approach this passage from a little bit from above. Of course, not tremendously, but just a tiny bit more shape in the thumb. And of course, we are building the skill of flipping over the other fingers while hitting the thumb. So this motion has to happen while you hit the thumb, using the same rotational momentum. So we rotate the forearm a little bit for the thumb, and at the same time we use the same momentum to flip over the other fingers. Yeah, because even if you play slowly, even if you practice slowly, train to do this motion quickly. You see, this is too late. So you have to play it quickly. Hop. Yeah, to train, to practice this motion quickly, even when you play slowly. And then, of course, we want to avoid this motion, which I see very often, even in the playing of university level students. Yeah, so we don't want this. We want a very loose, quick flip over by using a combination of a forearm rotation, this motion, and a little bit of wrist twisting, just a tiny bit of wrist twisting, which delivers your loose fingers to the next position like this. So this is this motion. And again, keep your arm open. And you see that those motions are really, really tiny. So you don't really see much of the rotation, you don't really see much of the wrist twisting. Those motions are really tiny, just help you to adjust a tiny bit. And step number 5, finally, when we have established a good scale playing technique, when you can play this scale in a moderately fast tempo, in a tempo like this kind of tempo, and when you feel confident and well supported, then you start working on a thumb over technique. So now we think about this passage positionally. So this is one position, and we play each position on a tiny forearm rotation. And get back for the next position. Right, left, right, left, right, like this. So practice like this with gaps, improving this motion, developing this motion, and listen to the evenness of each sound. So no accents. All the notes have to be very even. For this, you have to activate your fingers really well, especially fingers 2, 3. Usually people experience most problems with the middle sounds. The first and the last are usually okay, but the middle fingers usually don't really work with enough energy. So listen to that, that articulation, and experiment with how deeply you can go through the keys. Some pianos need a more like deep approach. Some pianos will allow you to play at the surface of the keys, very lightly. Yeah, so it also depends on the instrument. It's not all your fault if you can't reach the sound you want. And then you start working on 2 positions at a time. But again, your thinking here at this stage is right, left. So you see, I don't go under the hand anymore. I go kind of over. Listening to it, maybe I need a little bit more pressure on the 4th finger in order to avoid accents. So here you fine-tune the result by listening to it, and also to being very sensitive about your physical sensations. And then these two, then these two. So you do it in chunks by connecting 2 positions and then 3 positions at once. And then these. And then checking the whole passage. What is also very important at this stage is to start quickly, because many learners, when they come across such passage, they start simply too slow. And then you start speeding up, but it's already not enough time. So you start very lightly, like throwing your hand immediately for the bunch of notes. One momentum. Yeah, so that's your start. Very light and very quick, like glissando style. Then you have enough time to actually wrap up this passage nicely. And of course, make sure to wait with your left hand. So you plan more or less where exactly those notes in the left hand happen. So the F sharp happens with B, let's say. D sharp happens with D. And C sharp happens with A. For example, doesn't have to be exactly this way, but approximately. And then when you play it, even if you can't play it very quickly, just play it slower, but distribute those notes evenly throughout the passage. So then it might be not very quick, but it will be even, because the worst what can happen is when you play and your left hand already has finished, but the right still has like another 2 octaves to go, which is not very nice, because then you have this kind of gap, and it's clear that you miscalculated the alignment of your left and right hand. And when we go downwards, we don't have to develop any additional type of technique, because our standard technique already includes some rotation here. So we just enhance our traditional technique when we go downwards. So I hope that this was helpful. Of course, check out my comprehensive courses by following the links in the descriptions, and see you next time.